By the way, his website, outofthebluethemovie.com, linked up at coasttocoastam.com. Here he is, James Fox, with us. James, have you been following this story of Jeff Peckman, who wants the city of Denver to have an extraterrestrial commission to get ready for a visitation?
Yeah, he needs, I think, 4,000 signatures to get it on the
ballot. Yeah.
I got CNN contacted me about this whole thing, and they said, "What do you think about this?" And I said, "Well, it kind of, I don't know, I haven't seen it, but it kind of reminds me of the Santilli film that came out, the alien autopsy thing. You remember, and I don't know if one has to think back to extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and at the very least, I would hope that whoever shot this would come forward, because remember when Santilli came out with that alien autopsy footage, I was very suspicious when I found that the guy who took it wouldn't come forward.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You know what I mean? It just
and the producer subsequently told me he knew it wasn't real.
Oh, he did?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. And then they wanted to go back to Fox with a special on just what they think had happened. And I guess what they were trying to say was the film wasn't real, but it was a recreation of what they saw that was real.
Oh, really?
And so that didn't work.
Hey, speaking of film footage, you remember when we were on Larry King with Buzz Aldrin?
Yes.
And he was talking about that sighting. Well, a couple of months ago, I put out a statement to any military or government officials with sort of experienced unambiguous UFO cases to get in touch with us for continue the progression of the film. And I get a 16-millimeter film roll sent to me that was taken on Apollo 11. It's a copy of whatever was taken, and I take it in. Of course, I have it transferred digitally, and it shows. Now, there's no audio, but it's clearly Apollo 11. And I talked to Buzz about this, I think in 1999 or 2000 when I was supposed to meet with him in the south of France. It clearly shows for about 4 seconds what appears to me to be a disc, a saucer-shaped disc. And I don't know if they're leaving the moon or if they're coming or going, but it's out the window of the capsule, and it was shot by Buzz Aldrin. Very interesting, right? Because I remember him confirming this story for me quite some time ago, and then, of course, he sort of recanted. He
he denied it, and he was telling me in the green room after they slapped makeup on us that, he didn't see anything.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember, he had me, I don't know if I've told you the story or not, but I actually, through his sister and through, I worked on a film with The Legend of Obie Taggart with Andy, was it Rooney, and one of the, think of the name of the other person. But in any case, they had actually met with him, and he had told them about this encounter they had on the way to the moon. And long story short, after about 6 years, I finally got him to agree to an interview, and he said, well, I'll be in the south of France. So I borrowed all this money, got a camera crew together, I flew to the south of France, and he kept putting it off, and on the day 5, he said, well, meet me in my hotel lobby, and this is Monte Carlo. It's costing me like $500 a day.
Oh, my God,
just to stay there. I'm like, let's do this thing,
Hey, I would have called Prince Albert for you, gotten you a discount.
And so on day 5, he says, well, meet me in the hotel lobby, and don't have the cameras rolling. I said, okay. And so I'm sitting down waiting. I'm having a cup of coffee, and I'm waiting for him in the hotel lobby, and I get the concierge comes up and said, Mr. Fox? Yeah. Got a phone call. It's Buzz Aldrin. He's in his room. He said, I can't do it.
No.
I promise you. He said, I can't do it. I said, well, why not? I mean, I flew over to south of France. I've been waiting here for 5 days. He said, Paul Allen just invested in SETI. And SETI I swear to you, this is the honest God truth, exactly how it happened. He said, SETI, he invested money in SETI. He got labeled a UFO nut, and he did not want to jeopardize his initiative of trying to develop a rocket. He was trying to get funding from Congress to put civilians into outer space. And he said, I don't want to jeopardize that initiative, and sorry, and he pulled the carpet out from underneath, boom, end of story.
Unbelievable.
I promise you this is exactly the truth. I met with his sister, who lives in my neck of the woods. I won't mention her name, but she does live right around me, and I've met with her on a number of occasions, and he shared this story, intimate details of, obviously, it's his sister. And she called me the other day, and she said, I don't know. She said, I saw that Larry King show. I don't know. I think someone's gotten to him because he won't even talk about it anymore. So I don't know. I mean, I've got this footage now, and I don't know what to do with it because there's no audio in the capsule, so you don't know what the astronauts are saying, but they're clearly filming it. And I can't prove anything, but it clearly looks like a disk with light reflecting off of it. It's not sitting on the surface of the moon. It's away from the moon. It's in the air.
Did you show any of that at the National Press Club?
I did not. I got this after the National Press Club.
You did? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what to do with it. If anybody out there is listening has any kind of idea or any leads about this, I don't want to put it in the film without cooperative testimony from at least one of the Apollo astronauts.
No, exactly.
I'm trying to get a hold of Buzz right now to have a meeting with him. He's in Los Angeles, but we'll see what happens. Who knows?
You should show it to Mitchell. At least Edgar would tell you what he thinks it is.
That's a good idea. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, because he's a straight shooter.
He is a straight shooter. And he told me he didn't know of any sightings that he knew of that occurred in space, but,
James, since you and I last talked, lots of things have been going on. The Brits have released their classified UFO files. The French continue to do what they do. Lots have been going on. You had a chance to meet with the French equivalent of NASA, the head of that, right?
Yes, Jacques Patinet.
Patinet. And we've got a little link up that you gave us on the coasttocoastam.com website. What was that gathering all about?
It was amazing. One of the shows we did in November with Larry King, we tried to get Jacques Patinet to do a satellite feed from Paris because obviously, the French had just released their files. I think like 1,600 cases that were reviewed, out of which I think it's roughly 28% remain unexplained. Some of them are quite extraordinary, and we were unsuccessful at pinning him down. But I think after the National Press Club event, because we invited so many members of the French, we had Claude Bowyer and astrophysicist Jean-Claude Rive, we had Deboc. And so they came back to France, and I think they really touted Leslie Kane and I's effort, and it was very credible. In any case, I suddenly got access to these people. I got access to Letty, General Letty, the Air Force, who spearheaded the Cometa report, which is incredible, and we got access to Patinet, which was incredible. They're not retired; they're current. It was amazing. I remember asking him about if you could, what was his personal opinion on a lot of these cases, and he said, well, obviously, as mine is, a lot of them can and have been explained away in sort of down to earth conventional terms, but there's this core percent that he believes will probably lead to a very strong possibility of an extraterrestrial presence, which is amazing for someone in his position to say this.
True.
And then I said, well, gosh, the American government hasn't been very forthcoming. What would you say to the American government? And he sort of gets a bit standoffish and he puts his hands in the air and he kind of, I don't want to mess around with America. But, now that you mention it, he said, with a little reluctance, he said, to the American government, I would say, don't be afraid to tell the public the truth. And I'm translating from French, but that's in its essence what he said. And it's remarkable. And since then, obviously, England is, and he told me England was going to be releasing files, and they haven't released everything. England's just, they're progressively releasing stuff.
They're keeping the good stuff, aren't they?
They're probably keeping the really good stuff. Isn't that usually what happens?
Did you like Jacques Patinet?
Oh my gosh, he was the most affable guy. Yeah, he was amazing. He was warm. We had some coffee. We talked a little bit about what we were going to discuss on camera. We went and had coffee with Yves Siard. Yves Siard was chairman of JEPON now, and we sort of we got along very well. He was a very, very friendly, open person. And like I said, I really think that the National Press Club event, people ask me quite often, like, well, what was accomplished by doing that event? And I think more than anything else, it's given Leslie and I unprecedented access to military and government officials from around the world because they communicate with each other.
Well, we need more government officials to begin to disclose, like Paul Hellyer, the former defense minister of Canada, and what the Brits are doing. We need more of that to happen.
Well, I couldn't agree more. And one of the things I want to mention quickly is, Leslie Kane, and this was her idea, with the Coalition for Freedom of Information. She said, well, I want to spearhead this initiative while we've got all these amazing government and military officials in one spot. It's a 2-page document, basically forcing or asking for